Hey y'all, it's Megan. If you are returning to my channel, welcome back, and if you're new, welcome aboard. So if you've been around for a little while, you know that August is wedding month on my channel. Our anniversary is in August. We just celebrated 10 years. So I thought since we've been married officially for 10 years, I would talk about a little bit about our Disney wedding. What would I do differently 10 years on versus things that I would do exactly the same? So I've done quite a few videos on the process of doing Disney weddings, how it was when we did it. If you're interested in getting more information, definitely check out that website, and then I will link my other videos down below if you are curious how we did ours in particular. But like I said, it has been 10 years, so some things I'm sure are different. We were very pleased with our wedding. I am thrilled that we decided to get married at Disney. My husband was not a Disney person. He had never been to Disney until we got married. So I'm very thankful that he went along with it. And now he is also a Disney guy. So that worked out for us. Disney weddings are not going to be for everyone. Obviously, not everyone is a Disney adult. But for us, it was great. So there are very few things that I would change. Mostly, I would do everything exactly the same. If I was going back to redo our wedding, I would do most things almost identically. I was really pleased with everything about how they did the wedding. The only things that I would change are choices that I made. So there's absolutely nothing that I would change about having a wedding at Disney. That was never in question. So let's talk about photos. So I had a family member who's a photographer do our photos. Wouldn't change that. That was great. Having someone that you're comfortable with already doing your photos, A+. Another thing that we did with photos that I would do definitely again is we had such a small wedding that we were able to take a picture with us and each individual person who came. So that's important to me, to have not just like a big group picture, and also we had like candid shots of everyone who was there, but we also had a moment where we were like, we're gonna go and we're gonna physically like speak to, interact with, take a photo with each individual family or person who came to our wedding. And we have that now, and there's some people who were at our wedding who aren't with us anymore. In fact, this week I'm celebrating. This week is 3 years since one of my very good skipper friends passed, and he was at my wedding, and I cherish that photo that I have with him. So, you know, having those memories that, you know, these people are not always going to be around, and having an individual moment with them on a special day for you, I think is really important. So that's something that I would definitely do again and recommend to anyone who's having a wedding at Disney or otherwise. One thing about the photos that I would change: we did not do in-park photos. And now, 10 years later, do I wish that I had them? Kind of. Yes, I do. We didn't go for it because it was an extra, you know, expense, and you had to have a Disney photographer do it. We couldn't have had my family member take the photos in the parks. They had to, you know, have to have a Disney fine art photographer do those photos. So we did not pay the extra money for it. And looking back, do I wish that we had done that? Yes, a little bit. But, you know, at the time, we didn't prioritize that, and that wasn't something that we wanted to spend our allotted budget on. So we did not make that choice. I'm okay with that choice, but if I were to do it over, I would probably find a way to make that happen. Another thing about having the pictures in the parks, aside from just them being pretty, is I realized that nothing about my wedding, aside from like, you know, when we had the ears on, or if you just happen to know the locations where we were, you know, at the wedding pavilion and stuff, if you are a Disney person and you see it and you're like, oh, I know where that is. Nothing about our wedding said, this is a Disney wedding. So to have something like the castle in the background, to be able to take pictures in front of the castle, so it's something that says like, oh, that's where you got married. That would have been cool to have something like that. I would have, I think, enjoyed having some pictures like that, because you can't really see the castle in the background of our pictures all that well from the wedding pavilion or from, you know, outside of the wedding pavilion. You can see it, it's small, it's back there, but there's nothing that's like, whoa, this is a Disney wedding, which may be what some people want. So, you know, take this with a grain of salt. But for me, I do wish that I had something that was like a little bit more, hey, this was at Disney World, just in a few pictures. Let's talk about the food. Food's a big deal at weddings. I've been seeing, my sister is in wedding season of her life, like every one of her friends is getting married. So she's been going to a lot of weddings, and I've been seeing the food. It's not speaking to me, y'all. Some of it's a little weird. And I get that I'm kind of a picky eater. I eat the exact same thing every day at the same times every day. It's probably some kind of neurosis that I have going on. But anyway, I really liked that we had a buffet, which you would not think coming from me. I'm a germ person. I have emetophobia. I don't want people touching my food, but I was comfortable with the way Disney did it. They had servers that were there to like facilitate, and they kept everything very clean. And I was really pleased with having a buffet because we were able to have multiple options and people could get whatever they wanted. So you didn't have to make a choice and then wait for the plated meal to be delivered to you at varying degrees of doneness and heat and whatever. So everyone got to get exactly what they wanted. And once again, because we had such a small wedding, everyone was kind of able to get their food like at the same time almost. We only had 30 guests for reference. So, you know, people could they could have the beef option, they could have the chicken option, they could have the vegetarian option, they could have all three. Like, you could have one of each thing. There was enough food for everyone to eat everything. So you didn't have to choose, you didn't have to like make a decision between this or that. You could have some of everything. And there was so much food left over. God, I feel so wasteful. I hate that we weren't able to like take the food, especially because we paid for it. But you know, aside from that, it's my only like semi-negative thing about Disney itself. And it's like, give me a to-go box, but it's really minor. So definitely recommend having the buffet. Loved it. Some of my friends still talk to me and they're like, your wedding had some of the best food. So those Disney caterers, they know what's up. One thing that I might change or do differently if possible about the food is we did not go to Disney to do any tastings for the cake or anything. So I would maybe try to do that if possible. You are able to go down there. Is it still called Frank's, the little bridal boutique thing? I think it's still called that. I don't know. But you are able to go down there and work with your wedding planner and work with your coordinator, and you're able to like do tastings and pick out like what fillings you want and what icings you want and what cake you want. And you can do the whole designing thing like in person, which I think would probably be easier than what we did, which was me like trying to Photoshop and like manipulate and draw a cake that we wanted, which turned out perfectly. We only got to try the cakes the day of. And I didn't even try both flavors. Like we had two flavors because we had a 3-tier cake. There were two tiers were red velvet and one tier was a yellow cake with I think a strawberry something going on. I didn't even try the strawberry, lemon, vanilla, yellow, whatever. I don't even remember because I didn't get to try it. I wish that I had gone and done a tasting and at least had, you know, a frame of reference for both flavors because at the wedding, it was kind of chaotic. I've mentioned I ate like hardly anything at the wedding. So I did have the red velvet because that was our top tier. We took it with us. We did not save it for the first anniversary. We just ate that puppy while we were on our honeymoon. Just kept it in the mini fridge at the boardwalk and we would just go in there and the two of us just chow down on that with a fork. And we were very elegant, you know, 22-year-olds. And I think that's just part of like the wedding planning thing that I didn't get to do. And if I was gonna do it over, if I could make it happen to get down to Florida during the planning, I'd probably do that. Extras. Let's talk about the little extra purchases that you can make to go along with your wedding. If you're doing the fully customizable option where you had a minimum expenditure and you had to spend a certain amount on extra things. And as far as the extra things that we bought, wouldn't change a thing. We paid most of our extra expenses to the floral. I could not have loved our flowers more if I tried. They were absolutely perfect. All I did was show them a Pinterest board. I was like, I like these colors and make something happen. And I said that I wanted the candelabras at, you know, lining the aisle. That's all I gave them. They said, okay, bet. And they were absolutely perfect. I love them. So we took the floral with us and we got to enjoy it all week. My parents took some and we used the floral from the ceremony as the centerpieces at our reception. So we didn't have to pay double for the floral. So always ask if you can just pick those floral arrangements up and plop them down onto the tables at your reception. Definitely saved us a ton of money and we got to enjoy the flowers in multiple locations. Some little bit of continuity there. So definitely recommend that. And our aisle runner, that was another one of the like main extras that we wanted to get. And I had seen pictures of people who had the hand painted aisle runners that said various things. I wanted ours to say, and they lived happily ever after because we were at Disney. So I wanted to have that. And we still have the aisle runner. It's in a box. I don't know what we're going to do with it. I'll probably try to at some point frame the part that says that has the words on it. I'll probably try to frame it or something. I don't know, but you do get to keep it, so we still have it, and hopefully I'll find a way to display it at some point. One little extra purchase that I would probably not make again, and this was something that we bought on our own, this wasn't like part of the wedding package. I wouldn't buy champagne flutes again. We had customized champagne flutes. I don't think we would do that again because we don't drink champagne. We don't drink, period, really. So yes, it was nice to have those, you know, little Mr. and Mrs. with our date on it and everything on the day. And it was, you know, those cute pictures and stuff, but they're sitting in a box, I think in my parents' basement. Like, I don't even think I am in possession of them currently. So that tells you how much I have used them. They weren't all that expensive. I think they were like $120 for the set at the time. But that's $120 that we didn't really need to spend. So if I was doing it again, I probably wouldn't spring for the personalized champagne flutes, because Disney will provide champagne flutes for your toast during your reception. So unless you just really want to have those customized ones for posterity, I don't see any need. The last thing that I would possibly do differently is the venue. Hear me out. Not having it at Disney. Like that's a given. I would have it at Disney again, 10 times out of 10. But having the reception in the same place as your ceremony, I think, is what I would try to make happen. We didn't do that only because there was a big convention happening the week that we wanted to get married. So there was no days that entire week where we could have we wanted to have the ceremony at the wedding pavilion. And there was no days where we could have the reception at the Grand Floridian inside. We did not want to have an outdoor ceremony in the middle of the afternoon in Florida in August, because it would either be pouring rain or blazing hot, and we were not trying to invite our guests to come and have a heat stroke. So we did not want to have an outdoor reception. So there were no indoor options at the Grand Floridian for that week. So we got married at the wedding pavilion, and we had our reception at the yacht club, which was fine. It worked out for us. We had plenty of guests who had driven, and people could carpool over there. It was not a big deal. A lot of my friends were like, I got to ride with your aunt and uncle, and they were just a delight. So, you know, my family stepped up and Ubered everyone over there, so that was fun. But it worked out, but I do wish, just from a convenience standpoint for my guests, that we had been able to be like, okay, here's the ceremony, yay. Now y'all can just walk briefly right over here. You don't have to try to figure out how to get yourself to another location. You just walk, you know, right here to this next building over. So I do wish that we had done that, but like I said, during the time period that we wanted to get married, we did not have an option, and we didn't want to change when we were getting married. So we made it work, and it was totally fine. But to do it over, I would try to find a time where I could have my ceremony and my reception in walking distance of each other. So that is it. Those are my few things. What would I do differently? What would I keep the same about our Disney wedding? If you have any questions about Disney weddings, please do let me know down below, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. I'm sure a lot of things have changed, so definitely do check out that website if you are interested in having a Disney wedding. And if you are just curious about any more of the details about ours, I do have a whole playlist of our specific Disney weddings, breaking down the costs and everything that we did purchase to go along with ours. So if that's something that you are interested in, I will link that down below as well. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, y'all.